Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019, 6:24 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So I thought we'd just take a peek at the sea ice up in the Arctic today. It's not very cloudy up there, so we can get a pretty good view of what's going on, and then look at earthquakes. So here we are at the Arctic view. Here's Greenland, here's Canada, Alaska. This is all of Russia. All of this along here is Russia, and then here's Norway, and down here kind of off the map is the UK. This is Iceland, and right up here is Svalbard, and here's Novaya Zemlya. So we're going to start down here with Greenland, and we can see now there's a little bit of cloud cover around it here, but we can see that it's really melting away. It's not very far out from the coastline at all on this eastern side, and now as you go north, it's pretty broken up, and on the west side in the Baffin Bay we can see that it's now we're looking through some clouds here, but this is ice. This is an ice edge here, and this is clouds that we're looking through. So that's a lot of that has melted over by Greenland. And remember last summer when they were talking about the ice up here at the north part of Greenland melting, and the climate people were all up in arms because that was some of the oldest ice, and a bunch of it melted, and they were saying that it really wouldn't come back, and so we're going to be watching that really closely here. So this is the ice that we're seeing. And if you want to see what's clouds, we can turn on this ice surface temperature level, and wherever you see colors, that's where there are no clouds, because they can't measure the ice surface temperature through clouds. So some of these areas are clouds and some are not. So like right here, this is not cloud, but we can see the sea ice. That's the sea ice right there, and the cracks right there. So it's just the beginning of the melt season. So we're going to be tuning in on this frequently. Now over here in the Amundsen Gulf, this is really melting fast, and we can see it all broken up here. This is the Beaufort Sea, so that's all breaking up pretty good, melting and breaking up pretty quickly there. We can see there's virtually no ice here. And then here's Alaska coming up. Here's Barrow, that's the most northern point, and we can see that it's ice free right up here to the west of Barrow. But it's they've got ice right around the coast, a little bitty bit, but once you go out into the water there's no ice. Wainwright is right here for Alfred, and we can see this is melting quickly up here, and this is the Chukchi Sea. Here is the Bering Strait, and now we've got some cloud cover here. This is not clouds over here. So this is pretty warm. 260, what's that? 269 Kelvin. So it's got to be, well, 272 Kelvin is where fresh water starts freezing. But it's got to be several degrees below that for it to really freeze. Especially with salt in it, if it's mixed, depending on how much salt is mixed in from the ocean. Let's look back. Oh, that's even cloudier. Here's a pretty good cloud-free day. Oh, I was mistaken. So you just have to kind of look through the clouds and figure it out. And then here's the Siberia coastline. This is this East Siberia ice shelf, and we can see that this is the ice shelf is underneath in the water. That's where the huge store of methane is from, according to Natalia Shukova in all her research, the Russian lady, the Russian scientist. So it's broken up a lot more since the last time we looked at this. We can see here it's already broken up. We're looking through some cloud cover here. So we can see it's separated a lot more here as we're coming around. Then here's Novaya Zemlya. Here's where they've been running that icebreaker up here. The Russians they've got big plans. They want that ice gone because they've got big plans. Well, so does the US. They've got big plans for up there, and China and other countries. So we can see it's melted all along the edges of the island here. This is Novaya Zemlya. That's the west side. I mean the east side, and the west side is virtually ice-free too. And over here in this area, this is the Kara Sea, where we're seeing the methane releases keep building and coming up, and that's where it's so radioactive too. I've talked about that. If you've been following my work, I've talked all about that. So that's just a little tour. Oh, here's Svalbard. See, no ice at all down here. The seed bank is right up here. The seed vault. Here's Iceland. So, there's our tour. So now, there was another large earthquake that happened in the Philippines. I'm sure people have been hearing about it. Volcano Discovery listed it as a 6.4. This happened. When did this happen? This happened last night at 10:37 p.m. Pacific time. It was on land, caused damage. The last I heard, there were 18 people dead and a whole bunch of people missing. I guess it first came in as a 6.5, and it's on the island of Samar in the Philippines, and the UTC time was 5:37 on April 23rd, and we can see it right down here on the map. So we're going to be seeing more and more of these as the tectonic plates move and shift because of the permafrost melting and the ice melting, and all the weight moves around on the plates, and plus it's just getting more chaotic. Down here are the I Felt It reports from all around the world, and here's some pictures. Here's McDonald's, and I'm not sure what we're supposed to be looking at, what kind of damage there was there. It looks like two pictures put together. Here's another one. It's kind of sideways. You can see the stuff that fell off the table, and it's all over the floor there in that person's home. And here are all the reports. I'll leave the link below in case you want to go read them. Here's one from Palo Leyte. Strong shaking, heavy tremor felt here at the schistosomiasis hospital, Palo Leyte. Patients and employees rush outside the building as the whole place was shaking upwards and sideways. You could hear the roaring sound from within the building as it was heavily shaking while we're on the way to the ground floor at the stairway. That would be very scary. At the Pasay City Mall of Asia complex, they had very weak shaking, a very little shaking here in Mall of Asia complex. Around 5 minutes it lasted. Here's one from, this one was 126 kilometers from the epicenter, from VSU Bay City, Leyte. My wife and I just got inside our car in the parking area of the university when it started shaking. I thought somebody was making fun of me by shaking my car. It was only a few minutes later when I arrived at the office when my colleagues told me that there was indeed a strong earthquake minutes ago. It was alarming, they told me. glassware and crockery broken at Villarreal. Anyway, so another large earthquake, another very large one. Here's another picture of some damage, but there was quite a bit of damage that was done. Okay, so let's get rid of some of these browser things. So let's go over to USGS. For the last 24 hours, we've got 299 earthquakes of all magnitudes worldwide. Of those, 34 are 2.5 magnitude and higher. So I'm looking to see what's about to come off the map. This 3.1 at the Dominican Republic came in at 6:56 last night. Here's a 2.6 near Alberto, Oviedo, Mota, Baja in Mexico. This one came in at 8:11 last night. So let's start on this one over here in South America. Here's a 4.1 near Arica, Chile at 3:16 this morning. Then let's go this way today. Here's one near Mayotte again, 4.6. Near Pamonzi, Mayotte. That's this little island between Madagascar and Mozambique, Africa. This came in at 3:35 this afternoon. Next up here was a 4.3 near Mandalay, Iraq at 3:24 this morning. Next, here in India, Nepal, a 4.7 near Kirtipur, Nepal at 5:44 this afternoon. Here's a 5.9 near Along, India at 1:15 this afternoon. Now that's big enough to do damage if it was in a populated area. It doesn't look like there's much around there, but you never know. Next, we're going to look at the Philippines. So over here was a 4.7 near Santa Cruz, Philippines. This came in this morning at 11:03. And remember that 6.1 happened in that same area yesterday. And then over here we had the 6.4 near Tutubigan, Philippines at 10:37 last night, 54 kilometers deep. And then there was an aftershock 4 minutes later of 4.8 at the same place at 11:41 p.m. at 56 kilometers deep. Now all of these times I'm telling you are Pacific time because that's my time zone. See, this earthquake first came in as a 6.6. So here are the tsunami reports, and I haven't even looked at them. Based on all available data, there's no tsunami threat from this earthquake. Now this is for Hawaii. So you can go here and read through all of them and see. Next, down here is another one on New Zealand. There was one here yesterday, right up here, 4.5, and today there's a 4.4 near Palmerston North, New Zealand. This one happened at 9:37 this morning. Then coming on up, here was a 5.2 near Pongai, Tonga at 9:52 last night, and a 6.0 south of the Fiji Islands at 7:20 this morning. This was pretty deep, 385 kilometers deep. And a 4.6 south of the Fiji Islands at 8:22 this morning. And this was even deeper, 551 kilometers deep. Now remember, the deep ones are what make the tectonic plates move across the planet. Up here off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia, was a 4.6 at 12:23 this afternoon. So I think that's all of the international ones. So, with all magnitudes, we're going to look at Hawaii next. We've got 7 here today. One 1.8, 1.9, 1.8, 1.8, 2.0, 1.8, and 1.8. So up here by Mauna Loa and some here by Kilauea, and then further down to the coast. So those aren't huge, but it's still showing movement. Now let's come on over to the Dominican Republic. We've got 8 here today. I'll call them off: 3.1, 1.7, 2.1, 2.7, 3.3, 2.1, 1.5, and 2.8. Now coming on up to Alaska. All magnitudes, we've got 106 here today. So that's more than we've been seeing up here recently. Of those, we've got 7 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Here's a 3.1 Kodiak, 3.5 Kodiak, and 2.7 Kodiak. And then the rest of them are up here at Kobuk, 4.5, 3.4, and 2.8. So, of all magnitudes, we can see a whole bunch of them clustered here at Kobuk. Here's a little one near Unalakleet, 1.4. So, then here's some up north, a 2.0 Koktovik, 1.4, and so forth. And then they're coming down through the center of the state there. So how many does Kobuk have today? 54. Well, that's an uptick. We saw 20 something here yesterday. So probably because of the large ones down in the South Pacific, because they're directly opposite this. If you look at the map, see, they're directly opposite, just straight across. So most of these are ones and then twos range, but most of them are ones. Here's some more through this mountain range. Here's Anchorage. So on this view here today are 38. So the uptick in the number were because of they went up so high up at Kobuk. Now let's move on down into the lower 48. We've got a 2.1 near Lenoir City, Tennessee at 12:30 this morning. 2.6 near Utah, funny spelling, E-U-T-A-W, Alabama at 2:03 this morning. Here's a 1.9 Anthony, Kansas at 3:37 this afternoon. Here's one down in Texas, 2.2 Yorktown. Now this is to the southeast of San Antonio and directly south of Austin and kind of southwest of Houston. This happened at 4:29 this morning. Okay, Utah is clear. Here is the Yellowstone area. We've got 6 here today. I'll call them off. 1.0 Lincoln, Montana. 0.9 Townsend, Montana. 1.1 Plains, Montana. -0.5 Paulson, Montana. 1.6 Virginia City, Montana, and a 1.4 magnitude quarry blast at Butte, Montana, again at 12:02 this afternoon, their favorite time to blast, at a -2 kilometer depth. So they blasted up in the mountain again, or on the mountainside. Now, remember we saw these on the Juan de Fuca plate yesterday? Well, we've got some more. Here's a 3.9 at 1:58 this morning, and then right on the southern edge of it, of this Juan de Fuca plate, was a 3.7 at 10:53 this morning. So now up here in the Pacific Northwest, we've got one at Friday Harbor, a 1.0, and a 1.8 near Indianola, Washington. That one came in at 10:08 last night. Now on the tremor map, for the last 12 hours, they've had 4.8 hours of tremors. And for the last 24 hours, it's 13.8 hours of tremors. So it's been shaking over half the time. And the majority of them are right there to the west of Seattle, right where we saw that earthquake. It's in that same area. But this whole area is covered up with tremors. I've got my windows open so that you can hear the jet traffic. Now Nevada, here's a 1.1 Hawthorne by Walker Lake. Here's a 1.3 Goldfield. How many are here? Let's get Alamo off the map. We've got 16 clustered right here at Beatty, Nevada. They're small, except for this 2.2. That's the highest one. The last one came in at 329. And then we've got a whole bunch of them over here at Alamo, 9. Here's a 2.6. That's the highest one. Then 2.3, 2.1, 2.4. Some of these are at surface level, so no depth. So there's that. Now let's check out California. Here's the Mammoth Lakes and Long Valley region. We've got 7 here today, and they're all under 1. The biggest one is this 0.8. Next, here's one that just came in, a 1.3 Olancha, 0.3 at Coso Junction, and we've got lots of blasting. 2.5 magnitude quarry blast near Primm, Nevada. That's actually over here in California. This came in at 2:15 this afternoon. Here's a 1.4 quarry blast at Boron at 6:28 this afternoon, and another 1.2 quarry blast, same place, at 11:36 this morning. So one blast wasn't enough for today. Here's a 1.1 magnitude quarry blast at Mojave. And here's a 1.2 magnitude quarry blast at Tehachapi. So they're blasting away. 1.6 Maricopa, 0.7 Ojai. So we have 3 down here in Baja. Here's a 2.6. We saw that one near Alberto Oviedo Mota. Here's a 2.3, same reporting station, and another 2.6. So 3 all down here. And then if we look at Southern California, we're seeing 68 on the map today, so that's definitely an uptick. Here's some more blasting. 0.8 quarry blast Santee, 1.8 quarry blast Lakeside, and 1.4 quarry blast Bostonia. Here's another one, 1.6 quarry blast Holtville. So no wonder we have an uptick. When they don't blast, there's like maybe 20 or 30 down here that USGS reports on. But according to that article that I shared last night, Southern California typically has about 450 earthquakes every day. But they're real small. But USGS registers microquakes like minus 0.3 and whatever. Anyway, here's a cluster. Here's 15 right here at Brawley. Look, this one was a 3.7. That's getting up there. Then 2.4, 2.0, 2.9. Then Here, near the Salton Sea, we've got 7. So, I think the blasting is making everything shake. Here's Kauai in the Anza area. It's all those blasts. Now let's come up the San Andreas fault line. 0.8 Parkfield. 1.9 Ridgemark. 0.9 Hollister. 1.3 Orinda. 1.9 Kenwood at a minus 0.7 kilometer depth, so that epicenter was up in the mountain. And then we got all these at the geysers today. How many? Well, so with Kenwood it's 32. So without Kenwood we've got 31 at the geysers today. So 2.1 it looks like is the highest, and the rest are under that. So I think that's a wrap. I've been working on my website and trying to get some things archived, and it's going slow, but I'm working on it so that we can have shows and that they won't go away. And material that people can access. So that's a wrap. I'm going to go ahead and wind it up and let everyone get on with their evening. So I do believe we are in the end times, and that we need to get our spiritual houses in order while we still have time. You know, we don't know when or anything. We don't know anything. All we know is we're here until the end. I'm here doing God's work by reporting and trying to help reveal to people what's going on so that they can make their own decisions about things. That's my job. Oh, I wanted to show the Oroville Dam numbers. And we don't have the 7 o'clock readings in yet, I'm sure. Let's see. You have to update it twice. You have to go latest twice. No, but the latest reading from 6 o'clock, the lake level is at 874.25 feet. And at midnight, last night, it was 873.48. So that's how much it's gone up since midnight. And I'm tracking all of this. And yesterday, it went up 1.21 feet. The day before that, it went up 1.38 feet. So far, well, we can see how much it's gone up so far. We've got 874 minus 873.48. It's gone up 0.77 feet. So we've got 3 or 4 more hours. So there you have it. And they're not using that spillway. We can see that the outflow has been under 10,000 cubic feet per second. the inflow has been, the highest was at 19,687 CFS. That was at the 3 o'clock reading. And at the 7 o'clock reading, the inflow was 18,914. So, there you have it. So, until next time, God bless everyone. Go in peace, and I'll talk to you later. Good night.